Top 10 Navy in the world. Which is the most powerful navy in the world? Which are the top 10 strongest navies? The top 10 ranking of ships is based on their fleet-level fighters and submarines. This analysis considers the offensive power of the world's navy. The top 10 strongest navies in the world right now are: Number 10. Taiwan. The Taiwanese Navy has 38,000 personnel. Most of its warships have been purchased from the United States. Some warships were procured from other countries. Although Taiwan also has the capability to build its own ship. In the top 10, Taiwan's Navy competed with Indonesia's Navy for 10th position. Although the Indonesian Navy has twice as many personnel and significantly more warships, most of its fleet is limited to costly operations, while the Taiwanese Navy operates several ship-carrying frigates. Another powerful player, who was not included in this top 10 list, was the Turkish Navy, which is both powerful and has a valuable fleet, intended to operate in the Mediterranean region. Here are 4 key to destroying the Lung class. These are the former destroyers of the American Kidd class. However, the ships were rehabilitated and upgraded before they were handed over to the Taiwanese Navy. Taiwan's Navy operates a total of 20 frigates. These include 8 Changqing-class frigates. These warships were built in Taiwan and are based on the American Oliver Hazard Perry class. There are 6 Kai Yang-class, formerly American Knox-class, and 6 Nag Ding-class, French-made Lafayette-class, frigates. There are 10 landing ships in total. These include the only Husuohai, formerly American Anchorage-class, and 2 Chung-Hee-class ships, formerly Newport-class. The Taiwanese Navy has received only 2 useful high-length class submarines. These are Dutch Zwaardos-class boats, purchased from the Netherlands in the mid-1980s. Taiwan's maritime aviation has flown 12 refurbished and upgraded P-3C Orion cruise aircraft. Number 9. Italy. The Italian Navy, officially the Italian Marina Militare, has a fleet of about 31,000 personnel. The Italian Navy operates all types of warships. There is only one Cure light aircraft carrier. It serves as the flagship of the Italian Navy. It can fly V-STOL aircraft, such as Harriers and F-35Bs, as well as helicopters. Cure can also carry soldiers and vehicles. A small Giuseppe Grabdi aircraft carrier in service with the Italian Navy. There is also a small Gospel Garibaldi light aircraft carrier. The Italian Navy works to destroy 2 horizons. For political reasons, these warships are officially known as frigates. However, considering their size and powerful weapons, these ships are clearly destructive. There are also 2 old Durand de la Penne class multi-role deflectors. The Marina Militare operates 6 small Carlo Burmese class guided missile desliders and 4 more are under construction and should be used soon. These ships are also officially called frigates, but they are much larger and more powerful than most frigates in the world and even some destroyers. There are 6 active master-class anti-submarine frigates. Although there are plans to eliminate all these warships in the next 2 years. There are 2 small Solitaire-class patrol frigates. The Italian Navy has 300 men from the 3 Marks Marine Brigade. This Yogurt Brigade relies on 3 San Giorgio-class amphibious transport aircraft. The 3rd aircraft of the class, the San Giusto, is built to a better standard and can carry more troops. Italy is currently developing a Trust Ambience attack ship. It is planned to launch in 2022. Once in service, the less capable GSP will be replaced by the Garibaldi light aircraft carrier. There are 4 Salvatore Tordo-class, German-type 212-class, diesel-powered boats with independent air propulsion system and 4 older Saro-class diesel-powered submarines. Italian naval aviation has 2,000 strong personnel and operates a dozen rescue aircraft close to the AV-8B Harrier II. An additional 29 to 30 F-35B multi-role fighters were ordered to board the aircraft on board the Italian aircraft. There are very few maritime patrol aircraft, although they are operated by the Italian Air Force rather than the Italian Navy. Number 8. South Korea. Decades ago, little was known about the South Korean Navy. Recently, however, it was transformed from a coastal force into a capable naval force. It currently has 70,000 personnel. The South Korean Navy has not found any aircraft carriers. However, there is a Dokdo-class amoeba attack. It is about the size of a light aircraft carrier. It is the flag bearer of the South Korean Navy. Another aircraft of this class is being built and is planned to be launched in 2020. 3 Sejong Great-class missiles are destructive. They are among the most advanced warships of our time. They are currently the most capable destroyers in the world after the American Zamwalt class. The Sajej Great-class ship carries a wide variety of missiles and is capable of meeting virtually any threat at sea, on land or in the air. In terms of displacement and weapons, these warships are close to cruisers. Also, 6 Chongqing Yi-sun Pop classes are multipurpose destroyers and 3 Kwang-getsu are Great-class destroyers, although some call these warships frigates. The only active Diego class is the air defense frigate, launched in 2018. 3 more warships of this class are under construction. There are also 6-inch class coastal defense frigates. The South Korean Navy operates 6 older Alsatian-class frigates, which were operated between the early 1980s and early 1990s. Although there are plans to dismantle these old ships in the near future. The South Korean Navy operates 7 German Type 214 class, locally known as Sohan Van Yel class. Diesel-powered submarines have an independent propulsion system. There are also Chong Bogo class 9 diesel-powered submarines. The South Korean Marine Corps is modeled after the U.S. Marine Corps and has about 29,000 personnel. In the event of a war, these forces could be deployed on North Korean soil and on other islands. There are 2 active Chungwang-bong class amphibious landing ships. 2 more ships of this class are under construction. There are also 4 Ji-Jun-bong class amphibious landing aircraft. South Korean naval aviation has about 70 aircraft. Most of them are actually helicopters. Although there are 16 Lockheed Martin P-3C Orion Marine Patrol aircraft. Number 7. India. The Indian Navy has about 67,000 personnel. It is a strong force in South Asia. It is slowly but surely upgrading its equipment and transforming from a coastal force into a real naval force. However, it significantly loses the Chinese Navy in terms of size and capabilities. The Indian Navy currently operates an INS Vikramaditya aircraft carrier. This carrier is very polite in terms of aircraft number. Another aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant, is being built in India and should be operational in the near future. This will significantly increase India's force projection capabilities. The Indian Navy operates a total of 11 destroyers, including 3 Kolkata-class guided missile destroyers. These new warships are among the most destructive in the world. Also 3 Delhi-class and 5 Old Rajput-class are destructive. There are 13 frigates in the service of the Indian Navy. Some of these are innovative designs, including 3 Shivalik-class and 6 Sword-class guided missile frigates. There are also 3 older Brahmapetra classes and the same Godavari-class frigates. There are also about 20 corvettes aimed at protecting expensive water. The Indian Navy operates a large INS Jalsa Doha transport and operates 8 small landing ships, 3 Shardul-class, 2 Magar-class, 3 Kambir-class. These ships are designed for ships to deliver their cargo to enemy shores or to retaliate on occupied Indian shores. However, due to unavailability of essential equipment, India has not received any dedicated ship. The Indian Navy operates a single Orokant-class ballistic missile submarine. The second boat in the class will be launched in the near future. These nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines were built with the utmost secrecy. This was a milestone in the development of the Indian Navy. India has joined 5 other countries, capable of designing and building nuclear-powered submarines. There is only 1 nuclear-powered submarine. INS Chakra is a Russian Akola II class submarine, leased to India. The Indian Navy is also introducing modern Calvary-class diesel-powered patrol submarines. These are Franco-Spanish Scorpion-class boats with some modifications built for the Indian Navy. Seached boat launched, 2 more boats started moving soon, and 3 more boats are under construction. The Indian Navy also operates 9 Indus-class diesel-powered patrol submarines. These are obsolete Soviet Cold War-era KL-class boats. There are 4 active Schisummer-class, German-type 206 class, diesel-powered boats. The Indian Naval Air Force has about 210 aircraft. These include a variety of carrier aircraft, as well as 8 to 10 state-of-the-art Boeing P-8I Neptune and 5-year-old Alicia L-38 naval patrol aircraft. Number 6. France. The French Marine Nationale is one of the oldest navies in the world. It currently has about 36,000 personnel. The French Navy operates a single Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier. It is the flag bearer of the French Navy. It is the only nuclear-powered aircraft carrier built outside the United States. However, it is much shorter than the American carrier. Another aircraft carrier, similar to the British Queen Elizabeth class, was planned, but was eventually abandoned. There are 2 modern cars of the modern class of war against the horizon. These seagoing warships are officially known as frigates. However, considering their size and powerful weapons, these ships are clearly destructive. These are called frigates for political reasons. Also, the 2 Old Cassard class and 4 Georges Leagues class are destructive, who should retire soon. The French Navy operates 4 Aquitaine class guided missile frigates. More ships of this class are being built. These new frigates will soon replace the destroyers of the Cassard class and the Georges Lejegas class and will be replaced by the Aquitaine class frigates. There are 5 small Lafayette classes and 6 Floral class frigates. The French Navy operates 3 Mistral-class amphibious attack ships. These are the largest warships since the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier. The main missions for these ships are high-speed landing operations. They also provide command and force projection capabilities. The French Navy consists of a naval infantry brigade, with about 8,000 strong men. These are adventure forces that can go to enemy shores and carry out armored raids up to 100 kilometers in enemy territory. There are 4 Rubies class and 2 Amethyst class attack submarines. These are small nuclear-powered boats. France is currently building a new Suffren class nuclear-powered attack submarine to replace existing boats. The French Navy operates 4th Triumphant class ballistic missile submarines, which provide the backbone of the French nuclear deterrence. French naval aviation has 210 aircraft, including land and carrier aircraft. These include the neolized Rafale multi-role Riders, the E-2C Hockey carrier early warning warplane and the Atlantic 2nd Marine Patrol. Number 5. United Kingdom. The British Navy is officially called the Royal Navy. The Royal Navy has been the most powerful navy in the world since the mid-18th century. It was an unparalleled power and played a key role in the formation of the British Empire. It was surpassed only by the United States Navy during World War II. The Royal Navy is currently focused on expeditions and is one of the world's blue water ships. However, due to low funding, the size and number of warships are gradually declining. The Royal Navy currently has about 33,000 personnel. The Royal Navy operates a lone Queen Elizabeth-class aircraft carrier. The second-class aircraft is scheduled to launch in the next few years. Although much smaller than American aircraft carriers and slightly smaller than Russian and Chinese carriers. The British Navy operates 6 Daring-class anti-air warfare decelerators. These aircraft can patrol large areas and provide air defense for the fleet. There are also 13 Duke-class frigates who work with Courage-class destroyers. These frigates are primarily for anti-submarine warfare. The Royal Navy includes a well-known Royal Marine Commando Brigade. The brigade includes about 700 personnel. The Royal Marines are the strongest navy in the European Union. There are 2 Albanian-class landing ships with 3 Baby-class logistics landing ships. There are 3 active submarines powered by atomites in the Astute class. 4 more boats of this class are being built. There are also 3 Trafalgar-class nuclear-powered attack boats, which will be gradually retired in the next few years. The Royal Navy also operates 4 Vanguard-class ballistic missile submarines. Each of these ships can carry a maximum of 192 nuclear heads. Such a burden is enough to wipe out entire countries. At some point, a Vanguard-class boat is on patrol. The details of these patrols are still highly categorized. The British Fleet Air Force operates various naval helicopters primarily for search and rescue, submarine warfare, utility and other roles. The Sea Harrier and Harrier II rescue aircraft retired in 2006 and 2011, respectively. Several F-35B covert multi-jihad fighters were ordered as substitutes. The new Queen Elizabeth will operate a class aircraft carrier. Number 4. Japan. The Japanese Navy, formerly known as the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force (JMSDF), consists of 5,000 personnel, more than 150 ships and 346 aircraft. The Maritime Self-Defense Force is formally limited to defense ideology due to the Constitution of Japan. It operates technically advanced warships and submarines. Also, the Japanese Navy is in a high state of readiness and highly efficient. Therefore, although the Japanese Navy has lost to the Chinese Navy in terms of the number and tonnage of naval warships, Japanese warships are generally more advanced and equipped with the latest weapons. However, the JMSDF does not have nuclear weapons. The Japanese Navy did not find any aircraft carriers, but there are 2 large Ismo-class and 2 Hyuga-class helicopter carriers. These are multi-role aircraft capable of conducting impenetrable operations, anti-surface and anti-submarine warfare. These large helicopter carriers enable the Maritime Self-Defense Force to project large power. In 2018, it was announced that in response to the rapid buildup of the Chinese fleet, the Asmo-class warships would be rebuilt as submarines. The Japanese Navy operates 26 firefighters, including 2 Atago-class broader anti-war destroyers and 4 Kongo-class large general destroyers. In fact, these warships are as close as cruisers. Also 4 Ikazuki classes are general-purpose destroyers. There are about 10 frigates, as well as 6 small destroyer escorts corvette. JMSDF has received 3 large landing ships. Japan's maritime numbers are not numerous and number more than 3,000. The infantry is officially part of the Japan Ground Self-Defense Forces. The official role of Japan's territorial waters is to retaliate and recapture the occupied islands. Although Japan is slowly increasing its campaign units. The Japanese Navy has about 20 submarines. Interestingly, these are diesel-powered attack submarines. As long as Japan does not use military warships with naval nuclear proliferation, it has developed technically advanced diesel-powered ships with endurance and significant expansion of offensive capabilities. However, Japan has not received ballistic missile submarines or nuclear ballistic missiles. Japan's maritime aviation includes about 70 Lockheed P-3C Orions and a dozen Kawasaki P-1s cruise ships. Number 3. China. The Chinese Navy is formally called the People's Liberation Army Navy. By the end of the 1980s, it was largely a river and a littoral force. China has been increasing its fleet since the early 1990s and is currently building new high-speed warships and submarines. The Chinese Navy has about 255,000 personnel. It is currently the second largest tonnage after the U.S. Navy. Moreover, it has the largest number of large fighters. By 2018, the Chinese Navy operated a single Liaoning aircraft carrier. It is mainly used as a training vessel. However, a similar carrier, Shandong, was launched in 2019. There are about 30 destroyers, 50 frigates and 40 corvettes. Although some older warships are not as capable as their Western or even Russian counterparts. On the other hand, new state-of-the-art warships are being developed at a very modern pace. In addition, about 6 Type 055 class guided missile cruisers are nearing completion and should be operational in 2020. Chinese ambiguous attack forces operate 4 deep transport docks, 32 tank landing ships and 31 medium landing ships. The Chinese Navy has 10,000 Marines that can be landed on enemy shores. The Chinese Navy operates a fleet of 68 submarines. These are 4-class nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines, which carry intercontinental ballistic missiles with nuclear training. So far, however, these missile submarines have not conducted operational deterrence patrols, possibly due to various problems and design flaws. Yet these ballistic missile boats are more likely to survive the first strike, once the country is attacked. In addition, there are 2 active Shang-class nuclear-powered attack submarines, 1 King-class diesel-powered attack submarines, 15 Yuan-class diesel-powered patrol submarines, and 13 Song-class diesel-powered patrol submarines. The Chinese Navy also operates more than 700 aircraft. Its main mission is to provide air defense for the fleet. There are more than 140 multi-role fighters. Chinese naval aviation also operates several JH-7 naval aircraft and 30 H-6 medium-range bombers. Their goal is to include American career warlords. Number 2. Russia. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Russian Navy inherited its fleet from the Soviet Navy. The size of the Russian fleet has shrunk significantly since the early 1990s due to the end of the Cold War and persistent funding problems. Most of its ships are remnants of the Cold War era. Over the past 2 decades, the Russian Navy has faced constant difficulties in retaining its major fighters due to limited funding. Even though it remains a particularly strong force, it has about 140,000 personnel, several warships and submarines. The Russian Navy operates the same Admiral Kuznetsov aircraft carrier. It's not as capable as an American carrier and fewer planes. Even though it is a great and terrible ship. Admiral Kuznetsov's service in the Russian Navy has been plagued by various accidents and plane crashes. There are problems with the ship's preaching system. Russia is certainly struggling to maintain and operate its only aircraft carrier. Russia has no immediate plans to replace the ship. The Russian Navy operates a single Peter Veliki butt cruiser, but apparently is also struggling to maintain this large-scale warship. There are also 3 small Silva-class missile cruisers with strong anti-ship, anti-aircraft and anti-submarine capabilities. There are about 15 destroyers, including Adelaide-class anti-submarine warfare decelerators and Sovereign-class general-purpose destroyers. There are also about 9 frigates and 24 corvettes. The Russian Navy's infantry is small and has only 12,000 personnel. The Mayan ship is delivered to the coast by the same Ivan Green-class amphibious transport ship. There are 15 more Rapucha I and Rapucha II class landing ships and 4 Alligator-class landing ships. These vessels provide full capacity over long distances. However, Russian bilateral transport is much less and less efficient than its American counterparts. The Russian Navy operates several nuclear-powered attack submarines. Akola has a number of nuclear-powered ships, which make up half of Russia's dwindling nuclear-powered attack submarine fleet. New high-powered nuclear-powered boats are being built. There are also 3 Oscar II-class cruise missile submarines. They are the largest attack submarines ever and aim to attack U.S. aircraft carriers and coastal installations. There are also Kiln-class diesel-powered patrol submarines used to defend bases. The Russian Navy appears to be investing heavily in its new SAC-class ballistic missile submarines. A total of 3 of these boats are in service while 5 more are being constructed at high speed. These boats carry nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missiles. There are a couple of Delta IV-class ballistic missile boats that are also a special threat. It is worth noting that due to insufficient funding, all types of old Russian submarines may be less prepared. On paper, the Russian Navy lost to the Chinese Navy in terms of warship numbers and tonnage. However, the Russian Navy operates a number of proven and highly lethal ballistic missile submarines. Russian naval aviation operates almost entirely around aircraft, including a small number of Tu-142 long-range anti-submarine warfare aircraft, L-38 medium-range anti-submarine fighter jets, and Su-24 tactical bombers. Number 1. United States. The U.S. Navy is currently the most capable Navy in the world. Since the end of the Cold War in the early 1990s, the U.S. Navy has shifted its focus from the wider war scenario with the Soviet Union to regional conflicts. The U.S. Navy is shrinking due to a lack of funding and a reasonable risk, but mainly at the expense of smaller ships rather than larger ships and lethal submarines. The U.S. fleet is well maintained. New ships and weapons keep popping up. The U.S. Navy has about 320,000 personnel. The U.S. Navy operates 11 large aircraft carriers used for power projects. These include a single Ford-class carrier and a total of 10 Nymphs and better Nymphs-class aircraft carriers. Each of these planes has 70-80 planes. It is a larger and more powerful force than the entire air force of many countries. The aircraft carrier is deployed in carrier combat groups with a host of warships and attack submarines. These escort vessels and boats protect carriers from the dangers of aircraft, missiles, marine and underwater. Also, these escorts provide themselves with additional strike capabilities. The U.S. Navy is capable of attacking. The so-called Gator Navy operates an ambiguous 8-9 American-class and Tadia-class ambiguous ship. Each of these warships has about 70,000-200 Marines, as well as their armored vehicles, and are transported to shore by tail tractors, helicopters and hovercraft. These warplanes are larger than most aircraft carriers. In addition, the 11 San Antonio class is a large amphibious transport that also provides long-range afternoon capability. The U.S. Marine Corps has more than 180,000 personnel and its own naval aviation, although the service is not directly affiliated with the U.S. Navy. There are 22 Ticonderoga-class missile cruisers. These were first-class fighter ships equipped with the Aegis weapons system, the world's most advanced air defense system. These cruisers are designed to protect war groups from missile attacks. The U.S. Navy is building 3 extremely advanced and secretly Zoom Vault-class destructive buildings. They are the biggest destroyers ever built. In fact, in terms of size, displacement and weapons, the Zumwalt class is closer to the cruiser than the destroyer. The warship is focused on ground attack, but it can also provide anti-aircraft and naval fire support. Also, the 64 Ali Brick class is a general-purpose destroyer that incorporates state-of-the-art weapons and systems. There is no frigate in service with the U.S. Navy. Instead, they have recently been replaced by various fighter jets of Freedom and Freedom class. These small vessels have little weaponry and are not designed to compete with uniform warships. The U.S. Navy operates a total of 3 ultra-advanced Smolf-class nuclear-powered attack submarines. These boats are far more advanced than the boats of other countries. Also in Virginia are the latest 14-class and 35 Los Angeles-class Old Women in service. There are a total of 14 Ohio-class boats carrying nuclear-powered ballistic missiles. These ballistic missile submarines are patrolling near the United States or in remote areas of the world's oceans, carrying out virtually impossible anti-submarine operations. The U.S. Navy operates more than 300 aircraft. Most of them are F/A-18 series multi-jihad fighters, as well as other related aircraft, which are stationed on the aircraft carrier.